show, don't tell. Well, writers have heard that 1,000,000 times. What if I told you there is a problem with that? What if that very advice, the one we're told is the cornerstone of good fiction, is the very thing holding you back, making your work feel flat and keeping it from getting published? Today, we're not just going to question show, don't tell. We're going to dismantle it because the real secret to powerful, immersive writing is about knowing when to break the rules. That's coming up right now. Why show, don't tell can hurt. Let me tell you about a writer, former client. We'll call him Alex. For 3 years before he came to me, Alex had been pouring his soul into an epic fantasy novel. He did everything right. Read all the craft books, watched all the videos, and he lived and breathed show, don't tell. His manuscript is really a masterclass in physical detail. Every scene is a cinematic tapestry of action, reaction, and sensory input. The problem? Alex's manuscript reads less like a novel and more like a screenplay. The reader could see everything the characters did, but we have no idea of who they are as characters, as people that we connect with. It was distant, cold. Alex came to me on the verge of quitting because he followed what he thought was the most important rule in writing, and it led him to a dead end. Alex's story is incredibly common. It's the story of a writer who has been misled by incomplete advice. So let's break down the 3 biggest ways the show, don't tell rule, when followed too rigidly, is actively ruining your book. First, it starves your narrative of its voice. One of the biggest myths about show, don't tell is that it's the only way to be immersive. But that advice was originally for screenwriting, a visual medium where you absolutely must show what's happening. A novel is not a movie. A novel has a superpower that cinema does not, and that is direct access to a character's internal world and the mind of the reader. We call it interiority. When you obsessively show every external action, you completely neglect this particular superpower. Instead of getting a unique narrative voice filtering the world for us, we get a sterile, objective camera view that just records events. Your manuscript can end up reading like a report. The man clenched his fist. His jaw was tight. A vein pulsed in his temple. Well, we can guess it. He's angry, right? But it's generic anger. Clenched fists, tight jaws are how hundreds of characters show anger. What does your character's anger feel like? Is it a hot, blinding rage that makes them want to smash things? Or is it a cold, calculating fury that has them plotting revenge? Is it laced with shame and regret? Well, you can't show that sort of thing with a clenched fist alone. Telling the reader he was furious, but beneath the fury was a familiar creeping shame. does not make you a lazy writer. It makes you a writer who is using the unique tools of the novel to give us psychological depth and a distinct voice. By refusing to tell, you force your narrator to be a silent observer when they should be our intimate guide. Second, showing completely destroys your pacing. Showing takes up way more space than telling. Dramatizing every single moment is the literary equivalent of refusing to hit fast forward. Imagine your hero has to travel from their desolate hometown to the shimmering capital city, a journey that takes 2 weeks. If you're a show don't tell purist, you might feel obligated to describe every sunrise, every campfire, every blister on their feet. After 20 pages of that, your reader isn't immersed. They are bored to tears. That journey is a transition. It's connective tissue. Great authors know that you show what matters and you tell the rest. A simple, elegant sentence like, "The 2 weeks to the capital passed in a blur of dusty roads and cold nights," does the job perfectly. It respects the reader's time and keeps the story moving forward. Here's a tip. If you find yourself getting bored while rereading a scene, that's a huge red flag that you're probably overshowing and killing your pace. Third, it buries the information that actually matters. In an effort to show everything, writers often end up showing a lot of nothing. You can drown your reader in a flood of physical details. The way an eyebrow twitches, the specific pattern of the wallpaper, the scent of rain on hot asphalt, until they lose track of the plot and the emotional core of the story. You force them to become detectives, piecing together clues just to figure out a simple emotional state that you could have just stated yourself. Often the most powerful thing you can do is just tell the reader what they need to know. Let's go back to our angry character. If you write, "His knuckles were white as they gripped the chair. He stared at the floor, his breathing shallow." Well, the reader might guess he's angry. Oh, or is he nervous? Or maybe just in pain. You're forcing them to infer, but you're not controlling their inference. But what if you wrote this instead? A wave of useless anger washed over him. It was the same anger he had felt 1,000 times before, hot, pointless, and gone as quickly as it came. You see, that one sentence of telling gives us so much more than a whole paragraph of showing ever could. Withholding this kind of information in favor of vague physical gestures doesn't create mystery, it creates confusion. Strategic telling. So what was the breakthrough for our writer Alex? He realized that show don't tell isn't a rule. It's a tool. And it's not the only tool in the box. The real art of writing isn't about choosing one or the other. It's about learning how to blend tools together. He went back to a scene that had been praised for its description, but criticized for its lack of emotional impact. Now, I've changed his character names and adapted what he wrote for this example, but generally it goes like this. In it, his hero, Kalen, confronts the villain who betrayed his family. Here's the before, written with a strict show-don't-tell rule in mind. Kalen's knuckles turned white where he gripped the hilt of his sword. A vein pulsed in his temple. He drew a sharp, audible breath through his nostrils, his eyes narrowing to slits as he stared down the Baron, his lips pressed into a thin, bloodless line. Technically, that's fine. We get it. The guy's mad. But it's all external. It's a camera observing a stranger. It lacks the interiority that we talked about. Now, here's his revised version where he gave himself the permission to simply tell. Pure, unadulterated fury coursed through Kalen. It was so intense it felt like a physical sickness threatening to buckle his knees. He gripped his sword, the familiar weight, a cold comfort against the rage burning in his chest. All he could see was the Baron's smug, leering face, and it took every ounce of his discipline not to abandon his plan and simply charge. Feel the difference? The second version is definitely more powerful. It starts by telling us the core, pure, unadulterated fury. Then it uses a mix of telling it was so intense it felt like a physical sickness, and showing he gripped his sword and he built on that foundation. We are no longer just watching Kalen. We are inside his head, feeling what he feels. We understand the stakes, his internal battle between rage and discipline. This is what readers connect with. The rule isn't show, don't tell. The real rule is this: show the pivotal moments and tell the rest. Show the scenes where the emotional stakes are highest, where a character's worldview is shattering, where the action is a direct result of a powerful internal conflict. Use showing for the close-up, but give yourself permission to tell us what a character is thinking. Tell us the backstory when needed. Tell us when time has passed. Use telling to build a bridge between the big dramatic scenes of your story so it flows smoothly with your pacing and remains sharp. Look, writing advice isn't a set of commandments carved in stone. It's a collection of tools. And telling is one of the most powerful and most unfairly overlooked tools that you have. Using it doesn't make you an amateur. It makes you a storyteller. It's what separates a novel from a screenplay. It's what allows you to craft a narrative voice that is uniquely yours. Trust yourself to know what your story needs. Trust your readers to handle being told something directly. Your manuscript will be better for it. You will become a better writer for it, and that rejection you feel might just change. So, I want to know from you, what is a writing rule that you absolutely love to break? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single one, and I love seeing how other writers forge their own paths. Have a great writing day.